To our pastor in his absence, you can be seated, and to Reverend Regan, who graced this pulpit, to all of the members, to my family who are here, and friends, and to all of you who believe and rely on the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Believe that he is a rewarder to those that diligently seek him. It is good to be able to stand before you and break the red bread of life. You know, as I was sitting there, I began to well up. And it came to my mind, and I've been dealing with this lately. I oftentimes find myself at home alone, and when I began to preach to myself, I find myself crying. I can sit there at times and I get to looking at the news. And while I watch some of the things that are taking place in our world today, I just start crying, praying. And I start a conversation with the Lord, and I've said to the Lord, I don't know what's going on. I've never been a crier. And I said, but God, for some reason, you are making me a crybaby. I don't know if because of I'm getting older, wiser, but lately I've just been a crybaby, Greg. Every time I look around, it's something that touches my heart and just causes me to cry. And when I can't do anything else about situations that I see in this world today, one thing I've noticed I can do, pray and cry. Amen. Pray and cry. Yes, sir. I understand that God can see and hear the cry of his people. Yes. I'm not going to prolong you anymore, but I want you to turn with me to 2 Timothy. When I got the message from my pastor, I was saying to the Sunday school class today, this morning, when the pastor called me, I was on the lake fishing Wednesday. And he called, he asked, was I going to be out of town? I said, no, I'm not going to be out of town. He said, well, he was going to be gone and he wanted me to stand in his place. I had no idea what I was going to preach. No idea. And that Thursday, I was on the road for a football game, and we played in Jacksonville. Got home late and wasn't able to get into the Word. Friday, I started to study, and God gave me a message. I hadn't read the Sunday school lesson. And this morning, when I got up and read the lesson, I noticed that the message God gave me was a message that he wants us to hear. Because even though it's not coming from the same book or chapter or letter that our Sunday school lesson came from, it's still dealing with the same thing, faith. Dealing with faith and commitment. And that let me know that God really wants us to get some understanding on what he would have us to do. And that the faith that we need to be demonstrated on this Christian journey. 2 Timothy, 2nd chapter, verses 1 through 4. 2 Timothy, chapter 2, verses 1 through 4. And you will find these words. Thou therefore, my son, be strong in the grace that is in Christ Jesus. And the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou to faithful men who shall be able to teach others also. Thou therefore endure hardship as a good soldier of Jesus Christ. No man that war entangled himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who has chosen him to be a soldier. And from these words, God gave me this thought: laboring for the truth with a commitment to serve the Lord. Laboring for the truth with a commitment to serve the Lord. My brothers and sisters, in a world that is filled with public opinions and political influence that sometimes blind us from the truth, it is a blessing to have the Bible in our reach. Yes. For the Bible is the abiding presence of God put into words that inspires, protects, and it elevates us into a world of divine possibilities. a world that reaches far beyond our physical expectation. For it is God's instructions and directions to an intimate relationship with him that surpasses all understanding. This character, this personality, this description of God, our Creator, that is called the Bible, is the Christian's recipe to peace, to joy, to happiness, to love, to harmony, and eternal life if we will live by its truths. For it is the glue, it is the spiritual fiber and power that brings us together in Christian love and keeps us in touch with his will and our design purpose in life. For it is his word that brings us hope. It is the word of God that wards off evil and prepares us for eternal life. In other words, my brothers and sisters, this book called the Bible is our roadmap to eternal life with our Heavenly Father. But with all of this being said, I must not leave without informing you of the fact that this Bible, this book called the Bible, also informs us of the cross-bearing work that must be done. Yes. And the consequences of failing to do God's will. For too often we witness to others. When we witness to others, too often we stress the benefits, but we leave out the consequences. All right. We look at the rewards of making heaven our home, but we fail to count the cost. We so often talk of the happiness and the joy that comes to those who give their lives to Christ. But in doing so, we sometimes make the mistake of making Christianity sound easy. When there is nowhere in the Bible where Jesus told us that this road would be easy. Neither is there anywhere where Paul tells us that this journey would be easy. Yes, my brothers and sisters, I am the one to agree that this journey is fulfilling, simply because of the many rewards that come with serving the Lord. But I want you to understand that it is not easy. But there is nothing easy about being tried like metal in a fire. And yes, my brothers and sisters, I am aware what Jesus said over in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 11, beginning with verse 28, where he says, "Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your soul. For my yoke is easy, and my burdens is light." Yeah. But my brothers and sisters, church, we need to understand that these words doesn't mean that there will be no problems on our journey home. Amen. It doesn't mean that there will be no trials on our way that we might face. No heartaches, no suffering, no sickness or dying in this Christian life. It doesn't mean that all of this will come simply because it's part of our cross-bearing process. No cross, no crown. But Jesus' words here does mean that we don't have to bear these burdens alone. For we are yoked with the one who gives sufficient grace anytime we need him. For to serve him is not bondage, but to serve him is perfect freedom. Simply because by his grace we have been freed from the bondage of sin. But church, that doesn't mean that this Christian journey is easy. But Jesus also tells us in that same Gospel of Matthew, chapter 16, verse 24, he says, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself, then take up his cross and follow me. And this cross-bearing, my brothers and sisters, this cross-bearing Jesus is talking about is concrete evidence that this Christian journey is not easy. This cross-bearing Jesus is talking about, it consists of some long suffering. It consists of some sacrifice, some heartaches, and some disappointments. And many times on this Christian journey, we are faced with some sadness. We are faced with some pain that only God can turn into joy. If we only believe. In church, if we would be honest, we would be honest with ourselves. And if we would be honest before God, we as believers know that this Christian journey is not always met with happiness. But sometimes we encounter trouble and disappointments along the way that can try our faith. Even Jesus being God, wrapped up in human flesh, while on his missionary journey downhill, sometimes was met with some trouble and disappointments. But not only was Jesus disappointed with some religious leaders who had misled the people and was handling church affairs in the wrong manner, but at times Jesus was also disappointed with his own hand-picked disciples. For when I remember reading about Jesus saying to his disciples, watch and wait while I go and pray. And then when Jesus returned, he found them sleeping. Jesus said unto them, O ye of little faith, how long must I be with you? My brothers and sisters, those words coming from Jesus, they were words of disappointment. But Jesus was simply saying to his disciples, haven't I done enough for you to wait and watch for my return? Haven't I done enough for you to be about my Father's business? And that's what Jesus is trying to tell us today. All he was trying to say to his disciples, haven't I done enough for you to stay focused on the task I have put before you? Haven't I done enough for you to stay in tune with my Father's will? Haven't I done enough for you to patiently watch and wait for my return? For after all, you was there when I turned water into wine. You was there when I took 2 fish, 5 loaves of bread, and fed 5,000. You was there when I anointed a blind man's eyes with spit and dirt, and he was able to see. You was there when I told a lame man to take up his bed and walk, and you witnessed him walking. You was there when you thought that you was about to die, and I stepped out on the decks of a ship and calmed the raging sea. You was there why when I turn the graveyard into praise service with 3 spoken words, Lazarus come forth and a dead man lived again. Haven't I done enough for you to wait on my return? I want you to know, my brothers and sisters, Jesus has done enough. He's done enough for us to patiently watch and wait for his return. That's why I'm laboring for the truth with a commitment to serve him. For like Paul, I believe that sharing God's truth are worth the cost and the sacrifice that comes with it. For the rewards are greater than the suffering. Yes. We find in our scripture text this morning, Paul knew that this Christian journey would be filled with some sacrifice. He knew that this Christian journey would be filled with some hardship, some suffering. But he also knew that the work must be done. Paul understood that if we would hold to God's truth, we would not be left to bear these burdens alone. So we find him in his last epistle to Timothy. He's warning and encouraging Timothy to hold on and be strong in the Lord. Here in this verse 1, Paul is preparing as well as encouraging Timothy to labor for the truth. For Paul knew that we as believers of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ must labor in the vineyard for the Master, holding to the truth even when the truth sometimes hurts. For sometimes the truth, my brothers and sisters, have a way of convicting us. That's why Paul tells Timothy and every believer today that we must have strength as well as patience to get this work done. And I want you to understand, my brothers and sisters, that this strength that Paul is talking about, this strength doesn't come from our workouts at Planet Fitness. This strength don't come from how many push-ups we can do. But this strength is a supernatural strength that can only come from Jesus the Christ. Paul understood that on this Christian journey, it would be filled with some demonic powers. For after all, it was Paul who said, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities. Anybody here this morning need help from the Lord? Anybody here need Jesus to help you bear this old heavy cross that sometimes seems to weigh us down? That's why I dropped by to tell you this morning to hold on and keep laboring for the truth with a commitment to serve the Lord. For the devil is a liar, the devil is a deceiver, but God is a deliverer, and he will see you through. For through the consequences, God is able to bring us through. He's able to bring us through with the conquering power of Jesus Christ. For through that power, we have supernatural strength to defeat the devil and his angels. If we will just hold on to God's truth and with our God's truth, demonstrate our faith in him. Paul, my brothers and sisters, had victoriously endured some hardship. Paul had victoriously endured some suffering, some pain and trials through his faith and work for the Lord. Through persecution, through imprisonment for Christ's sake, through a shipwreck, through being bitten by a poisonous snake, and through threats on his life, Paul still remains strong in the Lord. In other words, unlike some of us today, Paul didn't let the cross separate him from the love of God and the work that was before him. I say that simply because when things don't go our way, some of us have no problem packing up and quitting. And there are some who give up simply because others are being blessed and not them. Others' names are being called out, but theirs haven't. But they never stop to think that maybe their blessing was on the way. If they would only keep laboring for the truth and serve the Lord. Sometimes our blessings are only on hold, but God had that blessing on the way. As a top athlete in my school, I wasn't always given the red carpet treatment. I had talked with other schools who had top athletes who had become coaches, teachers, and I asked them on one occasion, how was they treated? And they would tell me they had the red carpet treatment, that they was well respected and given opportunities because of what they had done. But I wasn't given the red carpet treatment coming through my school district. I was passed over many times for positions. There were many times when I just had to pray folk off of me. That was trying to run me off. But I continued to labor for the truth. And I kept on serving the Lord. And now ever since I announced my retirement, former students, former athletes have been blowing up the internet. They have been blowing up Facebook, talking about how I helped change their lives. I didn't get on the telephone and call Channel 11. Channel 11 called me.
That's right.
And when they called me, they told me that someone outside of the district called them and brought it to their attention that I was retired and told them there's a story down there you need to hear. And they asked if they interviewed. I said, okay. I didn't know that these things was going to happen, but all I did, instead of introducing them kids, those students, to just football and track, I gave them an introduction to Jesus Christ. I talked about how God can change their life. I didn't think about the X's and O's, but I thought about making something out of them. And because of that, when I go into the grocery store, I walk into Walmart, and I see former students and athletes, the first thing they say, and I've seen some that was terrible in school, and the first thing they say is, thank you, Coach. You changed my life. And they start telling me the job they hold and the children they have and how the marriage they're in and how things are going. Right. What I'm trying to tell you, my brothers and sisters, if you labor for the glory of God, it will show up through the life of those who Paul didn't let his cross cause him to give up his work. And that qualified him to tell Timothy and believers today to continue the tradition long after he is gone. For Paul understood that the word didn't stay in the grave, but on that third day it got up with all power. And all the people there and people of God like Paul and others took up the baton and continued to run the race. In our scripture text, Paul is encouraging Timothy and all believers today to take up that baton, which is the word of God, and keep on running this Christian race. Passing that baton to us until we reach the finish line, when Jesus shall return. Oh, my brothers and sisters, don't be like his disciples and fall asleep on the job, but watch and wait until he returns. For this word watch simply means to work, for no watchman can sleep on the job. And this word wait simply means to endure, for the race is not given to the strong, not to the swift, but the one that endures to the end. Sister Meadows, there is no time out in this Christian journey. Every day is filled with some new challenges. Every day is met with some obstacles. Every day is met with some stumbling blocks and some mountains we have to get over. Pain and sickness in your body, death of a loved one or a friend, financial problems, problems on your job, marital problems, school shootings, church shootings, bill collectors, police brutality. Everywhere you look, you can't see anything but trouble. Killing, stealing, cliques in the church, and then there's Donald Trump. Everywhere we turn, there's problems on every hand. Someday you just have to cry, and then there are other days when you can't do anything but pray. Amen. This road, this Christian journey, is not easy. But thank God we have someone who can help us bear these burdens. Amen. Someone who gives us what we need to keep running this race with patience. And that someone is Jesus the Christ. And as I near to close, Paul knew, my brothers and sisters, that the spiritual warfare was not going to be easy. He knew that we would be met with some hardships. So he tells Timothy and laborers today to keep enduring this Christian warfare like that of a good soldier of Jesus Christ. And notice here how Paul uses the words good soldier, simply because he understood that there are also some bad soldiers who will desert and go AWOL in the midst of warfare. Likewise, Paul understood that everybody who enlists in God's army doesn't always join for the right reasons. And when warfare comes, they desert and go AWOL. They are okay with the cheers and with the victory parties, but they are afraid to engage in the fight. Gideon started his army with 32,000 22,000 men. 22,000 of them went home afraid to fight him, leaving him with 10,000. But 9,700 of them had to be given the orders to go home because they failed to prove themselves to be watchmen during wartime. And Gideon was left with 300 good soldiers. God is looking for good soldiers who are not afraid to fight for righteousness. That's why Paul tells Timothy to endure hardships like a good soldier of Jesus Christ. For a good soldier understands the difficulties and hardship that they have to be faced with during warfare. A good soldier knows that even when it seems like the enemy is winning, one must still stay in the fight and endure until victory is achieved. For when a soldier takes a vow or oath of enlistment, that simply means he has become a full-time soldier, fighting the cause of justice, leaving his field behind. For no one can serve two masters. So Paul wants Timothy and laborers today to understand that we should not allow ourselves to be distracted by fear and earthly desires that the devil tried to tempt us with, but labor for the truth and serve the Lord with gladness. For those who serve in God's army must have a sense of duty as soldiers to Jesus and Him alone. For no matter what the world may look like, no matter how hard this warfare may get, my brothers and my sisters in Christ, hold on to your faith as a committed soldier of Jesus Christ, and He will see you through. Time may bring you some pain. Time may bring you some sorrow. Time may bring some disappointments. You may even be faced with some sickness right now. But I dropped by to tell you in the next chapter you will see heaven. For help is on the way. In the next chapter, if you will just hold on, I tell you, help is on the way. For I see healing taking place in the next chapter. I see mountains coming down. I see stumbling blocks getting out of your way. For God is about to move on your behalf. Your cry has been heard. Your pain has been felt. Now help is on the way. Don't look at the troubles that you are faced with in front of you. Don't you look at the problems that are behind you. Don't you look to your right where you see your enemy trying to harm you. Don't even look to your left where sickness and doubt is trying to attack you. But all you need to do is look up to the hills which cometh your help. For all your help come from the Lord. He's on the way. Help is on the way. Cancer, you better move. I tell you, help is on the way. Heart disease, get out of my way. Migraine headaches, move. The high blood pressure, get out of my
He'll see you through. You gotta trust. The doors of the church are open. My letter, Christian experience, candidate for baptism. Come, enlist in the Lord. You're a soldier for the Lord. That's the best army you can be in. It's the army of the Lord. Come. This is your hour.
I've had some good days.